I am selling mangoes by the dozen. I have a mango tree in my backyard and it produces 10 to 15, sometimes even 20 a day. And what I mean by produces is that they fall off because I don't have a picker or a thing or a net or a way to get up there. It's a really tall, high tree. Some of them are low hanging, but I just go outside and find them on the ground every morning, every afternoon. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. Just wanted to say hi. I'm back. I wanted to follow up on my last video. I mentioned that I am not going to do any more camping as long as it's hot outside. No more summer camping. I lied. Actually, I didn't lie. I just didn't have a solution to that problem. I did not want to sleep in 91-degree weather, and I didn't know how else to do it unless you have like a little trailer or an RV or something that has air conditioning. And then I realized it became known to me that you can put a little AC in your tent. So I was looking at portable ACs for cars, car camping, tents, and they are very, very expensive. We're talking like above $500, $700, $800, $1,000 for a portable, something that you can carry, kind of like a boombox. This is ridiculous. I'm not gonna do it. I'm just gonna have to wait till it's cold. And then someone told me, you know, you can get one of those window units, like $150. You can like finagle it. Some new tents sell their tent with like a flap for that purpose, for you to position a window unit air conditioner in towards your tent. And some of them I discovered have like a little corner that has like a slit that you open a zipper, and it's to feed cords and cables for whatever purpose that you might need electricity to come into your tent and you want it to connect to the outside. And that little zipper actually is large enough for not a window unit that's square. If it's a big square window unit, I would have to like figure out a way, because I actually did purchase a new tent. After my experience, I realized me sleeping in my car, it's not gonna be the most comfortable thing unless I'm alone and I can have some sort of AC unit. You know, they have like a hose on the back where the hot air can escape and the water can drip out. There's a little thing that has a circle and you put the little hose and your window's closed so the air doesn't escape. But that's a different type. That's a standing unit. It is like an individual unit for your room, but it doesn't go into the window, but it does have like an exhaust tube. That's the word, an exhaust tube. Kind of like what your dryer has to let the hot air out. So at first I was looking into the window units, but then I realized I don't think my tent has a window unit flap. So how would I be able to sort of jerry rig it and like, you know, finagle some sort of way to be able to do this? And then I did look very carefully at the tent that I bought and all the description and all the videos and all the pictures and all the reviews, and I did discover that it does have a little corner pocket for cables. There was a window unit I was looking at like $159, and it was 5,000 BTU, but it's a square and I don't have that shape. So I found a standing unit with really good reviews. It's about 12 by 12 when it comes to like depth and width, and then it's about 27 inches tall. It does have an exhaust fan, so the footprint that you would need to be able to have it expel hot air would be much smaller. You don't need that big square for an AC window unit. My tent does have a little space, which is perfect because I can feed my power cable from the campsite's electrical panel in towards my tent. I can let the little exhaust and on the little tube that lets the water out also go through that same hole. I've been looking up a lot of YouTube videos and researching how to be able to do this, and it is very possible. A lot of people have done it. People also get like a tarp I found on Amazon, and I also saw on a video from another YouTuber. Her name is Heather's Hikes and Adventures. And she bought this, like, it's like a shiny reflective, almost looks like, the texture looks like it's like a wool sponge, but it's bright and silver, and it's very lightweight, and you could place it on top of your tent. She places it on top of her car because it helps to reflect the heat. Some people use tarps, and I feel like tarps are very heavy. I think I'm gonna get that. It is about $50, but they recommend it because the thinness of the tent itself can make the cold air just dissipate, and it's best to try to protect your cool environment that you're trying to create from the really heavy, especially the 1 o'clock hot sun that's coming straight down, especially if you're in a campsite that doesn't have a lot of shade. I think I'm gonna do that. And the tent that I got, it's called a gear top, and I did find someone on YouTube who has one and showed how she set it up, and it's quite easy because it unfolds and it already has the poles like attached to it. It's not like one of those that it's just this big piece of nylon fabric and you got to get the poles and feed the poles and clip them on. It comes with the poles, so you just kind of unfold it and then you pull the poles apart and they just snap open. And you keep doing that. There's like 3 sections for each corner, so for 4 sections, and then you have a standing tent. It takes very little time to put together apparently. And then it comes with the SUV portion that you would wrap around the back of your SUV, which is what I want because I still want to be able to have my SUV attached to my tent. I don't know, I just feel safer that way. I could use my trunk to keep stuff up there, and the actual floor of the sleeping quarters of the tent is 10 by 10, which is very large. My daughter's air mattress and my little foam mattress can go right next to one another. All 3 of us can sleep on the floor, as opposed to me being in the car, because I don't know how far that air conditioning is going to reach. And the car's a little uncomfortable because there is a little bit of a slant and a slope even when I put my seats down. And I bought something to try to like level it out, but it turned out to be a little too high. So then anyway, I don't want to sleep in the car. Even when you go to sit up, your head almost touches the ceiling. I think I'd rather sleep in the tent with them. But the tent is so large that it has, if you have your SUV and the part that goes around the back of your SUV, it has the main tent that's 10 by 10, and then it has like a smaller tent quarters that doesn't have a floor. It has mosquito netting, but it also has windows that you can completely zip up if you don't want, that free air passing through, or if it rains. And on top of that, it has another section that you can prop up with poles, and it comes with poles to have like a little porch, like a little awning. So you have the bedroom portion, you have a little living room portion, and then you have like a little porch, which is pretty cool. So the porch part, I don't think you can close it. You just put up the tent poles and it's like a little awning, so you can put little chairs and hang out there. Or you could take the poles down and just bring it down so that you can completely close off even the living room portion. Like if it were to rain, for example, both sections of your tent, the living room and the bedroom, can be completely protected from the rain because it comes with an extra top. So that top, if you take it off, the whole tent is nothing but mosquito netting, and it's white, so it helps reflect the heat. But you can, let's say it's a nice weather day and it's nice and cool and comfortable and you don't need AC, you can be in your tent with all the mosquito nets just revealing, the sky. But if you want to protect, yourself from rain or from heat or whatever, you want to make it a little darker so you can sleep better, you put the cover on top, and that cover is what has the little awning that creates the front porch. If you don't put that front cover, basically you just have the main bedroom area and the little common area, which is a little bit smaller. I think it's like 6 by 7. So the main one is 10 by 10, and then as it gets closer to the back, it gets a little more narrow. It's like 7 by 6, and then you have the little awning. So you have your car, and then it gets really big, and then it gets really small. So it has a long footprint. I think it's about 15 feet long from like where the part that attaches to your SUV all the way to the tip of the awning. And it is about 10 wide. And then you have your car on top of that. A car is about 12, 13, 14 feet from front to end. So if you think about it, you're gonna need a good 30-foot long campsite. So you might have to rent a campsite that's for, RVs. And definitely nothing that's smaller than 20 feet. So a lot of these are for rigs, and they have sewage connection, they have water, and the electrical panels tend to be in the 50 amp range. Some of them may have 50 and 30, but usually the smaller sites will have the 30 and the 15. I have an extension cord that it's a power station, it's waterproof, and it has 4 outlets, and it plugs into a 110 normal, like 15 amp, like how you would in your house. I also had purchased a 30 amp to 15 amp converter, like a 30 to female outlet for what you would plug in your house, just in case if a campsite did not have the regular type. But now I've decided to do a summer camping weekend. The site that I booked only has a 50 amp, so I'm gonna have to purchase another adapter, which is from 50 to 15, or AKA 110 volt, whatever. That's okay. That's like the least of my concerns. It's another expense to buy the AC unit. Oh, by the way, about the price, what I was saying earlier, the window AC unit was $159 for 5,000 BTU. The one that I found on Amazon had pretty good reviews for a standing unit with an exhaust, and it was 8,000 BTU, and it's only like $200. For 40 more bucks, you're getting 3,000 more BTU. The window unit, 5,000 BTU is good for like 150 square feet, which is like a 10 by 15 room. Okay, that would be enough to cover the full tent. But the 8,000 BTU, I think, covers up to like 200 square feet, which would be like a nice 20 by 20 space. So I think that would be enough to cool the little living area and the actual tent, and maybe even some of the interior of the car. Because what I want to use the little living area for is for the kitchen / meal prep area. Because of the fact that last time we got killed by the bugs, not so much the mosquitoes, but the deer flies, I'm scared to spend time in my campsite just hanging out outside. This campsite particularly that we're gonna go to, it has a spring, and a lot of people, it's known and it's famous for swimming. That's what we're really gonna go for. It's like a summer fun thing. We're not just gonna be sitting around outside in the woods. The last campsite I went to didn't have any form of swimming. You can go fishing, but it was quite boring. It was just for hiking, and if it would have been cold, it would have been nice because there's a long hiking trail that would have been lovely to do, but it was just too hot and the deer flies were brutal, and so we never got to do it. The fact that it's summertime, it's better to do something where you can get wet with cool water, and what better than 72 degrees spring water. And so I plan to spend the days, by the water, enjoying the spring, but when it's time to prepare breakfast or, lunch and dinner, I want to be able to be zipped up in my tent, because if I'm at my campsite and I'm preparing meals and mosquitoes or bugs are attacking me, again, that was what made the last trip less than desirable. So I have a solution for the heat, I have a solution for the bugs, and that this tent setup I think is actually going to be quicker and easier to manage than what I originally did. My original setup was kind of, again, like a jerry rig sort of like make it up as I go along thing, because I had purchased a primitive tent and it came with some strings and I bought some poles, but the way that I adhered it to the back of my SUV and attempted to create some sort of an awning, it actually draped a little bit, and I had to keep bending down every time I would go under it to get to the back of my car and to like sit around and work on the food, and it was too uncomfortable. I love that I can stand up in this tent. I could use my trunk space, storing our clothing and our toiletries, so it's real quick and easy, or even the back seat. I don't have to put my back seat down and like utilize the actual car to sleep, because we can, all three of us, actually sleep on the main tent floor. I could lift up the mattresses and just, put them up against the back of the SUV so that we have space to move around in the main area during the day if we're not using it to sleep. And I have a couple of little comfy camping chairs. I bought a little camping table because the original table I had, it's gonna work fine. I'm gonna bring it along as well, but I realized I needed an additional table because the one that I have is very small. It's like, we're talking like 15 by 15 plastic little table, which was great for holding up our water gallon. We had a water dispenser that was 7 gallons, and I had the water gallon sitting on top of that the whole time. But then when it came time to cook, I had Amazon boxes, and I brought a big cutting board, and I had the cutting board on top of the Amazon box or on top of the actual fridge / cooler that I have. And it was a little bit too complicated. Like I need to be able to open the fridge, so I couldn't have it on the fridge, then I move it to the box, but then the box wasn't stable and it almost fell. So I decided to invest in another third little table so I can actually create a little kitchen setup, so that I can actually have my little mini refrigerator thing, my water stand, and then a table and a cutting board that I can use, for meal prepping, for using the stove, for chopping things. And I can access the fridge without having to move everything around. Alright, my neighbors are just now walking in front of my house. I don't like filming in front of people. I don't know why, it makes me feel silly to have other people see me filming or talking to a camera, even though it's very common and a lot of people do it these days. I don't know why I feel silly doing it. Yet I don't feel silly actually posting it and you guys seeing it. Does that make me weird? I guess I'm weird. Anyway, I'm planning to put the little camping chairs along with the little kitchen setup, fridge, water, table, cutting board, and instead of using Amazon boxes to put all of my kitchen gear, like the little pots and pans and forks and knives and plates and cups and dry goods, I don't want to use an Amazon box. it's too big and bulky, and the car occupies a lot of space. Also took up a lot of space on the campground, the campsite. So I found on Temu, a camping bag, which virtually is just a soft, collapsible, folding nylon bag. But when you open it, it's like a big rectangle. It's almost the size of my mini fridge. So I can use that to put all of our dry goods and everything, and it'll just, it's not a box, so it'll take up a lot less space because it can mold its way into whatever space I need it to go into. I also decided to invest in some little camping cooking gear. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to spend money on things I didn't think I would need, because I do have pots and pans and things like that at home, but they are big. And yeah, I do need to cook a substantial amount of food if it's going to be me and 2 kids. It's not just me. So I figured, oh, those little camping sized things are too small. But they're actually not that small. And what's good about them is that they do have handles that kind of like fold around them. It's like this cool little like Russian doll thing where you have the main size saucepan, and then you also have a tea kettle, and then you also have like a little sauteing pan, and then the handles fold around them, and then they fit into this little bag. So you take it out, you take out the tea kettle, you take out the saucepan, you take out the saute pan, and then you fold the little handles out, and there you go. You have, 3 different things, which is what I mainly used. I used a deeper pan, like a saucepan. I used a more frying pan type style pot thing, and I used a tea kettle. For the majority of the trip, that's what I used to prepare our meals. So I just found a solution to not needing such a huge Amazon box by getting smaller little things. Also, towels. Had taken regular pool beach towels and I rolled them up, and they did take up space in a large bag. And I found microfiber towels that fold up very small, but when you open them, they're big enough for you to dry yourself off when you take a shower, or wrap your hair around them if you washed your hair, or even to be able to use when you come out of the spring. I also found a nice picnic blanket. Underneath is like waterproof, so it would be perfect because the spring is not going to be right next to the campsite. You do have to walk a bit to get to the actual spring, and a lot of people spread out and use the grass area kind of like a beach. So that would be perfect to spread out, to be able to sit around while we're not in the actual spring, but we want to still be near the spring. And if we want to go back to our campsite, it's very simple because it actually rolls and folds up, and it ties itself, and it has like a little handle, so it's almost like a small bag. That way we don't have to keep hauling the chairs back and forth. The chairs can just stay at the campsite. So yeah, call me crazy, call me a masochist, call me someone who is extremely bored and doesn't have enough money to take nicer vacations, an outdoor enthusiast, a person who is craving to get out of the mundane routine of working every day and then being home every weekend, because this inflation has not allowed me to be able to enjoy the city in which I live in because it's very expensive. And so I gotta do something so that I don't lose my mind. So that is actually what I am planning to do. It's gonna be hot. It might rain because the time in which I'm planning to go is, around hurricane season. Hopefully, I don't know if the campgrounds give refunds if there's gonna be a storm coming around the time that you're booked. I don't think they do. There's always that risk that if you don't show up, you lost your money. 2 nights worth there with utility fees and all that. I think it's like $24 a night, but then there's also utility fees. So it turned out to be about like 76 and change, something around there, $80 to sleep 2 nights there. And so yeah, that's it. I'm gonna attempt to summer camp in a tent with a standing AC unit, and I have a little bit of new gear, and I will make a video and show you guys how we set up that gear and what our next setup is going to look like. So stay tuned for that. There will be some other videos prior to that camping trip that you might see of adventures that I'm planning to go on that I don't want to reveal just yet. But when I'm ready to release that video, I will make a video just before to kind of let you guys in on the little secret of where I'm going to be going very soon, actually, from the time that I'm making this video. I hope you guys like my content. If you do, please, please, please hit the like button. It helps my channel to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who has subscribed. I think I have 329 subscribers. I don't know what's happening. Sometimes I'll lose one. I don't know if someone's just like, you know what, I don't like this lady. I thought I did, and I guess I don't. And then they unsubscribe, or is it YouTube who's unsubscribing people? But I had reached 130, and I was going to make a video to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed to, not 130, I'm sorry, 330. But now it's like 329. So it's like, okay, well, it's not that eventful number. Like, I need one more to reach the 330. So if you like my content, please hit the subscribe button. And if you hit the little bell, it'll notify you anytime I've posted a new video. And if you like this video, just hit the thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take up very much of your time at all. You know, don't be a hater. I'm not making any money off of this. So just hitting the like button, it's not really going to change that much for me, at least not right now. It may take years and years and years to get any kind of monetization. It may never happen at all. I don't care, because I enjoy making these videos and sharing with all of you guys the cool, fun things that I try to do to enjoy my life as a single mom and a homeowner, and my growth and my progression and my evolution as a human being, and how I got here, and what I'm probably going to be doing in the future if things continue to spiral out of control with our economy and with the cost of living in my city in particular. That is all for today, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.